I stated this. I think we control the controllables, Fever General Manager Ambercott said. You are start prepping for, obviously, the college season, for what's going on internationally, planning out our scouting. Now, it sounds like they are introducing a scouting department for overseas players. Now, from my understanding, they did not have an overseas scouting department. Now, both domestically and internationally, we are talking to all players, doing exit interviews, obviously focus on developmental plans to find them, finding out what their needs are and how we can support them. So really, just focus on what we can control, and as things roll out, we'll be ready to go. The biggest thing planned.
The Indiana Fever are about to attempt the impossible. In one of the most volatile off seasons in WNBA history, they have to build a championship dynasty from the ground up, with only 3 players under contract. Every decision they make will be scrutinized, every dollar they spend will be debated, and the entire future of their generational superstar, Caitlyn Clark, hangs in the balance. This isn't just about the 2026 season, it's about a high-stakes gamble that could forge a new WNBA superpower, or become a cautionary tale of how to lose a franchise player before she even reaches her prime. What the Fever's front office is planning is a complete roster revolution, and the details of their secret strategy are finally coming to light.
The biggest storyline going into this offseason is going to be Caitlyn Clark, Indiana Fever 2026 team. How is they going to build this team to be a super team? I told y'all, I'm sick of playing. We need to damn near solidify us a championship. We need to be up there with the likes of the Las Vegas Aces, the New York Liberty. We need superstars on this team. I'm tired of mediocre role players. We need to build around our 4 core pieces we already got and surround them.
The entire landscape of the WNBA is set to either solidify or shatter on one specific day, Halloween. This is the final deadline for the league and the players' union to forge a new collective bargaining agreement, CBA. Failure to do so doesn't just mean a delay, it could trigger a full-blown lockout, grinding all league operations to a halt. For the Fever, this is a nightmare scenario. It means any pending contract negotiations, free agent pursuits, and strategic planning could be frozen indefinitely. They are trying to assemble a championship puzzle while the table they're working on could be flipped at any moment. This isn't a distant threat, it's an active variable that complicates every potential move, turning an already difficult task into a frantic race against a league-wide shutdown.
We need superstar players. This is the make or break year for the WNBA as a whole, but especially the make or break year for Caitlyn Clark fandom. See, Caitlyn Clark fandom was at an all-time high at 23 and 24. Certain things happens in the league that kind of derailed the Caitlyn Clark hype. Well, basically derailed the Caitlyn Clark effect. Hence, the WNBA pretty much letting players that saw her in year 1, that derailed it. In year 2, Stephanie White kind of taking her off the ball kind of derailed it. But more importantly, the damn WNBA referees hella derailed it. So right now, Caitlyn Clark fandom is not what it used to be. Look at the jersey sales, ticket sales, and stuff like that. Now,
to understand the sheer scale of the challenge facing Indiana, you have to look at their 2026 roster. As it stands today, it consists of just 3 names: Caitlyn Clark, Alea Boston, and the newly signed Michaela Timpson. That's it. This isn't a team in need of a few upgrades. It's a skeletal framework waiting for an identity. This presents a unique duality of immense opportunity and terrifying risk. On one hand, General Manager Amber Cox has a virtually blank canvas to create her masterpiece, free from bad contracts or mismatched pieces. On the other hand, a single misstep in this rebuilding phase could be catastrophic. There is no safety net of a returning veteran core. Every single signing, from the superstar to the last player on the bench, has to be perfect.
Which are super max salaries. So core is like what they did with Kelsey Mitchell last year. I'm pretty sure they're going to core her again. Say core years, which are super max salaries in exchange for exclusive negotiation rights. Could go away entirely, prioritizing which gives the WNBA priority over the league stat side and overseas alike. Could become stricter or more lenient. The college draft rules could also be simplified, possibly allowing USA players to enter the WNBA without needing 4 years of college. So they could essentially try out for the team. I never knew that. See, y'all, I'm new to this. So I didn't know that you need 4 years of college to even play in a W, which is crazy.
No decision is more critical than the one concerning Kelsey Mitchell. As a two-time All-Star and the franchise's offensive engine for years, she is now an unrestricted free agent, giving her the complete freedom to choose her destiny. The front office has publicly labeled her their #1 priority, a necessary statement but one that also signals their desperation to the rest of the league. Mitchell is more than just a scorer. Her lightning-quick speed and ability to create her own shot are the perfect complement to Clark's methodical playmaking. Losing her would create a gaping hole in the backcourt that would be nearly impossible to fill. Rival teams know this. They know her value, and they know she has earned the right to chase a championship. This sets the stage for a potential bidding war that will test the limits of the Fever's budget and Mitchell's loyalty to the franchise that drafted her.
To nearly solidify them winning a championship. I'm tired of this debating back and forth. Players this, players that, players missing shots, missing. I don't want none of that. I want Olympians, superstar players, and more importantly, experience. Now, we seen last year, they brought experienced players in like DeWanna Bonner, Natasha Howard. Natasha Howard showed up at times. DeWanna Bonner was just completely out of the fight. Nigga got so bad, Stephanie White had to bench her, essentially why she quit the team. Now, with that being said, we need to get some overseas players.
Amidst the chaos, there are encouraging signs of a positive culture brewing in Indiana. Both Lexi Hull, a tenacious 3-and-D wing, and Sophie Cunningham, the team's fiery veteran leader, have expressed their desire to remain with the Fever. This kind of buy-in is invaluable and speaks volumes about their belief in the Clark Boston Foundation. However, their situations are precarious. As a restricted free agent, the Fever can match any offer sheet for Hull, giving them a crucial degree of control. Cunningham, on the other hand, is unrestricted. Her grit, clutch shooting, and locker room presence make her a desirable asset for any contender. While her heart may be in Indiana, a rival team could easily present her with an offer and a championship-ready roster that the Fever, in their current state, simply cannot match.
Players. Now, we seen Emma Messerman come, and she had high hopes, but fortunately, she didn't do too good with the New York Liberty, but I feel like they just had her in a totally different role. If she was playing her normal role, she would have balled out with them, but that's neither here or there. But I'm telling you right now, we need to open up the recruiting for overseas players as well. But just like I stated, man, some news has come out from the Indy Star.
Just when the task seems insurmountable, the WNBA is adding another layer of extreme difficulty. The arrival of two new franchises in 2026, the Portland Fire and the Toronto Tempo, means the Fever must navigate an expansion draft. This process forces existing teams to expose a significant portion of their roster, allowing the new teams to poach talent. The Fever can only protect a small core group of players. This franchise is still haunted by the memory of losing a key contributor in the last expansion draft, a strategic blunder that set them back. Now they face the grim reality that any depth they managed to acquire this offseason could be immediately stripped away before the team even plays a single game together.
We're going to navigate through the 2026 season. It's hard to know what the Indiana Fever will do this offseason. There are a lot of unknowns this season in the WNBA. All but two league veterans are free agents, and some will say shape or form the expansion draft. It's upcoming with two teams, the Portland Fire and the Toronto Tempo, slated to join in 2026. So not one team is joining this year, two teams. So we remember last year how it went when we lost Timmy Figman-Lake, which was one of the worst decisions they ever.
Faced with a domestic talent pool stretched thin by expansion and a tight salary cap, the Fever are turning their sights to the global stage. The creation of a dedicated international scouting department is the single most aggressive and strategic move the front office has made. This isn't a casual exploration, it's a targeted hunt for a specific archetype of player seasoned veterans from elite leagues who possess a championship pedigree. They are looking for players who have thrived under pressure in EuroLeague finals and at the Olympics. This is a high-risk, high-reward strategy. Integrating international players can sometimes present challenges with chemistry and adjusting to the WNBA's physicality. But if they find the right pieces, the Fever could infuse their roster with a level of basketball IQ, fundamental soundness, and unselfishness that is often forged in the hyper-competitive European system.
The planning includes making sure the players have a foundation to lean on. The Fever only have 3 players under contract: Caitlyn Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and Michaela Timpsey. Like Lexi Hall, restricted free agent, Sophie Cunningham, unrestricted free agent, have indicated their interest in returning to the Fever. And Kelsey Mitchell, unrestricted free agent, is the #1 priority in advertised free agency, she stated.
It's the controversial topic that many in the league are hesitant to address directly. The initial explosive wave of the Caitlyn Clark effect is beginning to recede. The unprecedented media frenzy and ticket sales of her rookie year were never sustainable, and a recent injury that sidelined her for a significant period has contributed to a normalization of the hype. This doesn't diminish her star power, but it does drastically shorten the front office's honeymoon period. The grace period to build something for the future is over. The pressure is on to win now, while Clark's ability to command the national spotlight is still at its peak. A failure to put a competitive team around her soon risks not only a decline in fan engagement, but also a perception that the franchise is squandering a once-in-a-generation opportunity.
They can only do what they can. This most part, Fever coach Stephanie White stated that you get exhausted if you start thinking about the what ifs, the what can happen, the what White stated. Right now, I'm just going to be where my feet are. And Chloe Peterson noted this at the bottom. But guys, as you can see, looking like the Indiana Fever could be planning on bringing some overseas players to this roster. So right now,
the strategic direction of the team on the court has also come under the microscope. The coaching decision to occasionally move Caitlyn Clark off the ball was a point of significant debate among fans and analysts. The logic was to diversify the offense and leverage her underrated ability as a cutter, preventing defenses from keying in on her as the sole initiator. However, it also led to stretches where the team's most gifted playmaker wasn't dictating the action. This tactical nuance underscores a larger question: what is the ideal system to unlock the full potential of a Clark-Boston pairing? Finding that perfect balance between a structured offense and the freedom for superstars to create will be just as crucial as the players they sign.
Definitely need to speak up for herself, because people do not like a weak superstar. You can say what you want about LeBron. You can say what you want about any other player. These set players speak up for themselves. Caitlyn Clark had to put the muscular mask on and mean face on to defend herself. We can only do so much as content creators. We can only do much as fans. Caitlyn Clark has to stand up for herself and make sure she keep her fandom alive, because as of right now, this is the year that could make a break the Caitlyn Clark effect. Mark my words. I'm seeing a decrease in viewership. There has been a decrease in sales, like I stated. There definitely has been a decrease in interest with Caitlyn Clark. Can all of this be fixed? Yes, it can be fixed. It's the Indiana Fever front.
Being the home of Caitlyn Clark means the Indiana Fever operate under a level of media scrutiny that is unprecedented for the franchise. Every roster move, every win, and every loss is analyzed on a national scale. The recent public spat between a prominent journalist and a rival coach over Clark's Olympic participation is a prime example of how she has become a cultural flashpoint. This relentless spotlight creates a pressure cooker environment. The front office isn't just building a basketball team. They are managing a global brand. They must make sound, logical decisions while insulating their players from the constant noise and narratives being spun by the outside world.
I want to win, bro. But get down in the comment section. Let me know y'all thoughts about this. Keep them bells on. I will be back with another one. And until next time, dog, shake the haters off. I'm out of here, baby.
The most significant long-term challenge looming over the franchise is the impending salary cap crunch. Both Caitlyn Clark and Aaliyah Boston are on their rookie-scale contracts now, but they will soon command supermax extensions that will consume a massive portion of the team's payroll. This creates what front offices call a talent bottleneck. When two players account for such a large percentage of the salary cap, it becomes incredibly difficult to afford a third star or build a deep, talented bench. This financial reality means the current offseason is their best, and perhaps last, opportunity to acquire high-level talent before their books become inflexible. The players they sign now must be good enough to win a championship and cheap enough to keep the whole operation financially viable. The International Scouting Initiative may be the key to solving that very salary cap puzzle. Many elite international players, while dominant in their home leagues, may be willing to sign for less than the maximum salary in the WNBA to compete for a championship and play alongside a star like Clark. The Fever can target specific skill sets to fill their needs perfectly: a pass-first European point forward to help with facilitation, a rugged Australian center to add toughness in the paint, or a knockdown shooter from the Spanish league to space the floor. This approach allows them to acquire championship-level role players and specialists without having to engage in budget-breaking bidding wars for domestic free agents. This is the fear that silently fuels every decision the front office makes. The history of professional sports is a graveyard of teams that failed to support their superstars. From LeBron James leaving Cleveland the first time to Kevin Durant departing Oklahoma City, the precedent is clear. Generational talents have a finite amount of patience. If a franchise proves incapable of building a legitimate contender, the player will eventually take their destiny into their own hands. To think the WNBA is immune to this is naive. The unspoken truth is that the Fever are not just building for the 2026 season, they are fighting to ensure that Caitlyn Clark's entire career is played in an Indiana uniform. Every failed season brings the doomsday scenario of her eventual departure one step closer to reality. In the eye of this hurricane of uncertainty stands General Manager Amber Cox, armed with a simple yet powerful mantra: control the controllables. This philosophy is the foundation of the Fever's entire offseason strategy. While they cannot control the outcome of the CBA negotiations or the whims of the expansion draft, they can control their own processes. They are meticulously building their scouting database, maintaining open lines of communication with their priority free agents, and developing multiple contingency plans for every possible scenario. This isn't a team that is reacting to the chaos. It is a team that has anticipated it. This steady, deliberate approach is designed to ensure that no matter what happens at the league level, the Fever will be prepared to act decisively. If Amber Cox and her team execute their plan to perfection, the end result could be breathtaking. Imagine a starting lineup that features the unparalleled court vision of Caitlyn Clark, the dynamic scoring of a re-signed Kelsey Mitchell, and the defensive tenacity of Lexi Hull on the wing. In the front court, you have the formidable presence of Aaliyah Boston, complemented by a veteran international center who brings championship experience and rim protection. The bench could be even more impressive, led by Sophie Cunningham's instant offense, and bolstered by 2 or 3 skilled overseas players who can seamlessly fit into various roles. This isn't just a playoff team, this is a roster built with the depth, versatility, and experience required to dethrone the league's current superpowers. The theoretical phase is over. The next few months will be a relentless sequence of high-stakes events that will shape the franchise for the next decade. The conclusion of the CBA talks will define the financial rules of the game. The expansion draft will be a tense exercise in asset protection. And finally, the opening of free agency will trigger a frantic race to secure the missing pieces. This is the final countdown. The research has been done, the targets have been identified, and the plans have been laid. Now it all comes down to execution under the most intense pressure imaginable. Lost in the understandable whirlwind surrounding Caitlyn Clark is the fact that this team is being built around 2 pillars, not one. Aaliyah Boston is not just a supporting piece, she is a franchise cornerstone in her own right. Her development into a dominant interior force on both ends of the floor is just as critical to the Fever's championship aspirations. Any player the front office acquires must not only complement Clark's perimeter game, but also Boston's post presence. They need cutters who can thrive on her passes out of the double team and defenders who can help protect the paint. Building a roster that maximizes the potential of 2 young superstars simultaneously is a delicate balancing act, and failing to do so could create an on-court dynamic where one star is inadvertently limiting the other. It is impossible to overstate the psychological burden placed on this team, and specifically on Caitlyn Clark. She was drafted not just to be a great player, but to be a savior for the franchise, for ticket sales, and for league-wide television ratings. This level of expectation is a heavy weight to carry and can impact everything from on-court decision-making to locker room chemistry. A crucial part of the front office's job is to build a roster that can shoulder that burden with her. They need to acquire veteran leaders who can absorb some of that pressure and create a supportive environment where Clark can develop without feeling like the fate of the entire WNBA rests on every shot she takes. To predict the Fever's future, one only needs to look at the past. The WNBA provides a clear blueprint for both success and failure in these situations. The Las Vegas Aces are the gold standard. They surrounded their #1 pick, A'ja Wilson, with a perfect blend of high-priced superstars and savvy veteran signings, resulting in back-to-back championships. On the other end of the spectrum are cautionary tales of teams that failed to provide their young stars with adequate support, leading to years of mediocrity and eventual roster turnover. The Fever's front office has the benefit of hindsight. They can study these historical precedents to avoid common pitfalls and emulate the strategies that have proven to build dynasties. Ultimately, this entire offseason boils down to one defining question: is this Indiana Fever front office truly equipped to pull off one of the most complex and high-stakes roster constructions in modern sports history? The task is monumental. They must successfully navigate CBA negotiations, outmaneuver 13 other teams in a hyper-competitive free agent market, nail their draft picks, and potentially make franchise-altering trades, all while managing the unprecedented expectations surrounding their star player. This is the ultimate test of their talent evaluation, their financial acumen, and their strategic vision. The coming months will provide the answer, and in doing so, will determine if the Caitlyn Clark era in Indiana will be defined by championships or by unfulfilled potential. The Indiana Fever are at a historic crossroads. They hold the future of a generational superstar in their hands, and the path forward is littered with obstacles. The decisions made this offseason will be the ultimate test of this front office's vision and resolve. Will they successfully navigate the storm and build the dynasty that Caitlyn Clark deserves? Or will they miss their window, forever wondering what could have been? The entire basketball world is watching, waiting to see if this grand experiment will end in a championship parade or a heartbreaking departure. The legacy of an entire franchise hangs in the balance.